It's Baby and Mary, we know you have been waiting, so here's another podcast about movies, burn after watching.
Welcome to the Burn After Watching podcast. I'm Borderland.
And I'm Mary.
And we are back.
Yes.
Finally, things are coming back. Normally, TIFF is like a good way to know that good movies are going to come out again, because it's been a pain kind of trying to find something that we're like, okay, this looks interesting enough.
Yeah, to say the least.
The last one we did was Long Legs. That was a fun time, even though we didn't love it. It was still a good film. I like an okay film.
Mm-hmm. And then, oh my God, I re-listened to the episode with Dan where you both talked about Trap. That was real bad.
Trap, you've seen as well, and we saw Sing Sing, which we just did an episode on. If you haven't checked it out.
Yep.
And today we're actually going to talk about Dìdi, which is a film that Dan have seen and talked about in the last episode. We finally were able to see it. It got released on digital. We also watched the previous short film that was nominated at the Oscar from the same director, Nǎi Nai Wài Pó, from director Sean Wang. But before we talk about this in this little quickie episode, subscribe. Find us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify podcast,
TikTok.
Apple podcast, TikTok, all the places we are there. Burn After Watching. Check us out. Find us out.
We are everywhere.
Let's go.
Your mustache is almost on the microphone. I like it.
All right. So,
So I had never heard of this short, and you explained to me that it was released before the movie. And
Yes.
it's kind of a tryout, like a
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
First, so released last year in 2023, Nǎi Nai Wài Pó. So this is a documentary about the grandmothers of the director Sean Wang.
Yeah.
And like nominated on, I don't think it's his first shorts, but this was probably the reason and like the fact that he built his name that helped him get Dìdi off the ground. So it's 17 minutes long. It's on Disney Plus if you want to check it out. And it's basically just a sweet little kind of day in the life of those two grandmothers that live together now, even though
That's so cute.
so cute.
And they both are more than 90 years old. And we just get to spend time with his grandmothers. And he films them in the most natural way. He
Authentic.
asks them questions and they interact together. And we get to know them more. And it's just so touching to me. Very, very touching to see them, two ladies, more than 90 years old, speaking about, growing old and him being in their lives and death as well. When she goes through her phone book and says, "Oh, I like to go through my phone book." And it reminded me of my grandmother who had a phone book, because back then they didn't have an iPhone to put everyone's phone number. And she just says, "Oh, it reminds me of good times because now, they've passed away." And she's not the only one left, but we can kind of understand that most of her friends have passed away now.
Yeah, and it's our way to get to remember everyone.
Right.
And it is a kind of reflection on death and life. And I think it's
And aging.
Yeah, and in a unique perspective. This is kind of like what I liked about Thelma, which is like something that is authentic, but is also not often seen, where the main characters are, older, very much older people, grandmothers, grandfathers. It's interesting, it's unique, and it's just a fun, cute, touching little shorts that, I just felt like great about.
And what I liked as well is the grandmothers aren't actresses.
No.
The grandmothers say in the documentary, "Oh, you're making us as like superstars, and we feel so much younger when you're around us," talking to their grandson. And it's funny because I hear my mom saying that to me sometimes. "I like being around you. You make me feel young." And I thought it was really more than just cute. It was really profound. Like them two taking care of each other, can relying on each other. I almost liked it more than Diddy.
It is
It was
interesting.
really, really great.
To me, just like without stealing the final note,
Stealing it.
it feels like Sean Wang, even though I really like both those films, short and film, has a talent at capturing, communicating, and making you feel like a certain perspective of someone. Being
Yeah, that's true.
we are not super old people, so like the perspective of a grandmother in their 90s is not something that we know, but he's doing a very good job communicating and like reflecting what it's like to be that person. I think that Didi did the same job for a teenage boy in the 2000. It's very authentic and it's very true to that experience.
Oh, yeah. And I agree with you 100%. And even though you say, you know, we're not old, I still have, like on a more personal note, have a grandmother who is 91 years old now. And this weekend, my dad said, you know, that she fell. And in the documentary, one of the grandmothers says, there's one thing you can't afford when getting older, and it's to fall. And so there's something so, like you said, authentic, pure, something so good from that 17 minutes. It really, really touched my heart.
It's
so pretty.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually something that comes back into Didi, where the grandmothers is part of there. And this, like, you can't afford to fall when you're old, actually comes back. And it's funny because going into Didi is almost like a autobiography of Sean Wang as a teenager. And you see him film his grandparents the similar way that he's filming them in Nǎi Nai Wài Pó, which is kind of meta. Just before, like, in terms of scoring for this short documentary, which is, you know, like, is very short, etc. But I think for me, it's like a solid 3.5.
It's a 4.5 for me.
4.5?
Yes.
Holy moly.
I thought just having that idea and everything that it represents, even for his two grandmothers to be the star of a short film, and you know, how their lives are now, and very small moments that could feel like not meaningless, but just part of their daily lives. But when you really start to think about it, you know, everyone will age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, obviously we're not thinking of this because now we're in our 30s. But imagine for someone who's like 80 years old listening to that, or, you know.
It's very good. I'm happy you got nominated.
Yes, me too.
I've seen some of the other short film, and there was another one that I prefer. I think it's called Red, Blue, and White.
From him?
No. Like I don't remember which documentary won. I think it's the ABC of book banning, or the one about instrument repair, which was also good. But there's one about abortion that was amazing. Great documentary. I really like it. To me, this director feels like a director that one day will make a masterpiece to me. Like, I feel like his style resonate, but the two story he picked so far are good, but not yet like 4.5, 5-star for me. But I feel like the potential is there.
But we haven't talked about Didi yet.
Let's talk about Didi.
You're like...
No. I mean, we talked about, it's kind of fluid.
You know what, though? I want to say that I wish I had seen the short before Didi. Because we saw it after. And yeah, I wish I had seen it before. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter.
Too much.
Yeah. So Didi...
Yeah, go for it.
Because you said that it was an autobiography.
Kind of, yeah. So Taiwanese American director. And so basically Didi is the story of a teenage boy that you kind of just follow. There's not a big story per se. You follow him with his friend. You follow him kind of like trying to figure out his place in the world with girls, with internet, with his own family, with his sister.
And the fact that he's also an American boy, but with roots. Well, not roots, but he's
with
like...
Taiwanese,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting because his friends are also from a bunch of different nationalities. So it's not like a play on race or like something about, it's not a big statement about like being Taiwanese American.
No, but
it's there.
He still though lies about that. He says that he's half
Half white, yeah.
half white, and then when his friends come over to the house and they start talking to the mom,
Yeah.
they realize that he lied. So it's kind of him trying to figure out his place in the world and lying on different things to be accepted and be loved, and then people rejecting him for not being his authentic self.
See,
You know?
I didn't remember that. So that's
Yeah.
fair. I think to me,
Thank
it's
you.
not to be love, it's to feel cool. Because he is a
I think
teenage boy, and a
that
lot of
goes
the things he
together.
does, like, they often lie, like, about being a skate filmer,
yeah.
is because he wants to be accepted and feel, like, cool.
And loved.
Yeah, and he's still, like, his sister's clothes because they're, like, coolers and stuff like this. So
Yeah.
obviously, like, I think he's too young to understand, like, the small things about, like, race in America. He's obviously, like, the film
think-
is making, it's part of the theme, but I don't think it's the main theme.
But you can tell though that he's ashamed because when he goes to eat with his mom to McDonald's, which is a really pretty scene
Really
to
cute.
me, and we see her eating the burger with a fork and knife, and he says to her, "Oh my God, you're so Asian."
Yeah.
And you can tell that in that comment, it hurt her, and he's trying to, like, be an American boy and just be like the other guy,
That's
his
interesting.
friends, and skateboard and like have the hamburger like the way the Americans eat it, you know?
But that scene to me felt like he was mocking her in a jokey
Okay.
way, not in a serious way. But I think that's
But he
just the way
was-
that I read it.
yeah.
And I think you
Both
could
are-
read it both ways. For
Yeah.
me, it felt like, oh my God, you're so Asian. Like, it was like almost like making fun
Yeah.
and having like a light moment with his mother.
But he had just been rejected by his friends and everything, so I kind
Yeah.
of read it as the other
Yeah,
way. But
that's
I
fair.
mean, yeah.
I think one thing this movie does, I think one of the best I've ever seen is the depiction of early
Oh
internet.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I think a lot of time early internet is depicted in a very cringe way. It's very kind of like, oh, and also when they try to like,
But just a sec, because it's early 2000s.
yeah,
like
it's 2009 or 8, yeah.
8, yeah.
So YouTube, MSN, like chatting online, all those things, very well done, very realistic. They didn't try
Yeah.
also to, sometimes you have like fake Facebook because they can't use
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, and they'll have like page book, and then,
Yeah.
you know, it looks so fake and like silly.
Yeah.
This was super well done. The chatting,
Oh, I agree.
what it's like to posting online, the kind of like still, it was a bit kind of shameful to post things online back then. Like it was not like accepted and everyone was doing it. It was posting something on YouTube was kind of like, oh, I don't know if my friend find this, right? If my friend knew I had a YouTube channel, it's kind of
Right.
like,
Yeah, because when he meets the skate guys,
Yeah.
he goes to his YouTube and like
Delete.
automatically deletes like a few videos that he's ashamed of. And him talking for a girl for the first time, and his friends kind of say, "Oh, you can't say this or you can't say
Yeah.
that." Like I caught myself laughing a few times, and
it was really funny. I
was-
laugh out loud, like multiple times. I think it might slightly speak more to Guy just because it depict boyhood from the perspective of a boy.
but as a woman, I could
See the flip side.
Yeah, see
Yeah.
because I mean it's
But-
not that different.
I think there was a lot of moment that like I think I laugh, but like I don't think you've been in those situations with like being a group of guy in your teens.
Yeah.
So I think there's like some of those like similar
Right.
to how probably a movie like Poor Things or something like this that have is not skewed, but like or even Barbie. Like there's probably jokes that like would go over my head.
Maybe.
In a similar way, but I think it's just a good time, and I think it depicts very well teenagehood, the 2000, the internet, but at the same time, it is kind of hitting a ceiling where it's not going to the next level for me. It's doing everything very good, but it's not profound or like deep. And once it was off, I was like, I kind of stopped thinking about it after that.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. But before I go into that, I just want to talk about one thing that it did really well for me is the depiction of generation with him living with his grandmother
Yep.
from the first short, his mom
Yep,
and his sister. So he's
the youngest.
living with 3 women, and they all are both so different.
Yep.
So like the more rigid Asian woman, you know, once he got a punch in the face and his mom gives him a boiled egg, like a cold boiled egg, and they're talking, and the grandmother's like, you know what happens when you get punched? And then she's going over dramatic, saying, you won't find a job, you never get married, you won't have kids. So she's the more like conservative, traditional. Yes, exactly.
Represent tradition,
right? And the mom, that's kind of thorn between tradition. She had to come here because we never really hear about his father.
He works in Taiwan. That's all we know.
Mm-hmm. So all the challenges that she might have going through as not a single mom, but a solo mom here in America. And I really like the fact that he wears the America skateboard t-shirt. It's kind of a cool reference. But so that's why when he gets in a really big fight with his mom and screams at her and saying that, you know, her paintings suck, and that was really, really hurtful to see, because, and it really depicted well to me how hurtful you can be when you're an adolescent, a teenager who's frustrated. So I really like that.
I think so, yeah. Like, it's interesting that all the generation come from like totally different background, obviously,
and in the same house.
Yeah, and there's this kind of like negotiation between tradition, being in between, being like fully kind of like into the American culture, and like what each action may mean based on the person is very interesting. And I think something else it does very well is this idea of like having a sister, having a brother, and like the relationship and like the dynamic there is really true. Like I have sister and brothers, and it feels very true and something that you can see. Mm-hmm. But again, like coming back to it, I just think like it's hitting it's definitely like better than the average comedy, but it's not.
I don't think it's a comedy though.
Well, it's kind of a dramatic comedy to me.
To me, it's just a slice of life.
But it's still like either a drama or a comedy. It can be just a slice of life.
I don't know. It's more like realistic than anything to me.
But it has drama, and it's meant comedy. To try to make you laugh.
Yeah.
And it's better than the average. Mm-hmm. It's more, you know, deep in texture, and there's more important theme to like look at than the average comedy, or, you know, but it's not hitting that next level.
I agree.
That either the cinematography or the music or the acting or the performance, something to, or the, you know, like going somewhere maybe a bit more unique. It was missing that for me to say like this is a best of the year type film, versus now it's kind of like low top 10, top 20, and it's in the bottom of my top 10 right now because we haven't seen all the big film we know will be in the top 10.
Right, I agree with you. We finished the movie, and I was like, I wish there was something more that I could hold on to, and I didn't want it to be like overly dramatic, but I wish there was more. Exactly, like you said, the music. I was expecting maybe something more aesthetic, but I don't think that's what he was going for, and that's fine. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it looks good. It's very polished. All the performances are very good.
Yes.
But nothing is like Oscar worthy, or like, you know, that I need. I'm not raving about the film. It's a good film, and it's worth watching for sure. Yeah. It's probably going to hit Disney Plus. I assume they have like, since they got the short, they're going to get the Dìdi as well. So I think it's definitely something to see. And I think it will be some people's favorite film. It's that kind of film where it is very good, and it will be some people's best or top 5, top 10. For me, it's not hitting that level. It's reminding me of something, I know you disagree, but like Thelma, which is very good. I really liked it. It's unique, it's different, but it's also not like giving me that like, ooh, next level kind of like step. It's not hitting high enough.
Yes. Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree. And you know, the short he made, I wish it was longer. I would have taken more of that. But I really like the subject that he went for. So I have to give him that. That's really good.
I like that he focused on family. I like that he focused on things that feels like that is him.
Personal to him.
Yeah, it's personal, and that way it feels true. It doesn't feel forced. The writing is really good. Yes. And I think it's just like for a first film, it's impressive.
Yes.
I give it a 3.5, and I think it's a very positive save. I think it's a film you should go see if you have the occasion. You don't have to run to it, but if you see it, put it, you know, on the back burner and say, hey, if you see it, go watch it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to give it 3.5 and save it as well.
Nice.
Yes.
So, like we mentioned a few times, we are doing an October Halloween special. We're going to be releasing one episode every week for the 4 weeks or 5 weeks of October. It's going to be focused on older
horror movies.
So we're doing found footage, we're doing Korean horror, we're doing monster horror, we're doing classic horror, and in between all of this, we're also going to do Joker 2, which is coming out in October. Me and you will do Joker 2, and we're going to rewatch the first Joker, which I haven't seen since it came out.
I saw it 3 times in theater. I adore this movie.
It's going to be interesting because I hate Joker.
Oh my
You
God.
like Joker 1.
How can he hate Joker? Who hates Joker?
We'll talk about it in the episode.
Yes.
And then Joker 2, which is not getting great reviews. We'll go watch that. But we love Gaga, so we are interested. We are going with an open mind. And tons of horror content coming your way.
One moment. So are you guys going to be releasing a video every week?
Yeah.
How is it going to work?
Every week
of October?
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a shorter episode, but
Yeah.
we're going to pick a theme. So the first one is found footage. So we're going to watch Paranormal Activity and the Blair Witch Project.
It's so funny because Dan and you
hate
horror movies.
But we we want to see them. And now we have a reason. And if you want to see 2 grown men panicking and crying on a podcast about how scared they are,
it's the time.
It's the time. So thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing.
Yes.
Find us if you want to see horror stuff, Joker stuff. All the Oscars coming. This is eating up now.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stuff coming. I must say before we leave.
Yep.
I can't believe I'm going to see Gladiator 2.
Gladiator 2.
This is going to be a fucking shit show. For sure.
I'm optimistic. I don't think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be good, but,
I think it's going to be terrible.
I think it's going to be fine. Like 3 out of 5. 2.5
Oh my
out of
God.
5.
It's going to be like a Napoleon
But it's
thing.
your favorite movie of all time.
I know.
So I understand. If they did like Doubt 2 or The Lighthouse 2, I would be like, fuck this.
Oh man, that would be like, yeah.
I feel like as a spectacle, going with low expectation, it's probably going to be a fun time. It's just going to be like people just dying and killing each other.
Whoa.
Most likely. There's a rhino in
Russell.
the Gladiator. Also, the Coliseum is flooded with water and they're fighting on boats. That's cool. I'll watch that. Anyway, we'll see. Conclave. So many good films coming out. We are excited.
Thank you so much for watching.
Gucci.
Talk to you later.